Is time travel really possible in our universe, or is it just science fiction? Have you ever made a mistake that you wish you could undo? Correcting past mistakes is one of the reasons we find the concept of time travel so fascinating. As often portrayed in science fiction, with a time machine, nothing is permanent anymore. You can always go back and change it. But is time travel really possible in our universe, or is it just science fiction? We all travel in time. We travel 1 year in time between birthdays, for example, and we are all traveling in time at approximately the same speed. 1 second per second. How do we know that time travel is possible? More than 100 years ago, a famous scientist named Albert Einstein came up with an idea about how time works. He called it relativity. This theory says that time and space are linked together. Einstein also said our universe has a speed limit. Nothing can travel faster than the speed of light, that is 186,000 miles per second. Can we use time travel in everyday life? We can't use a time machine to travel hundreds of years into the past or future. That kind of time travel only happens in books and movies. But the math of time travel does affect the things we use every day. For example, we use GPS satellites to help us figure out how to get to new places. NASA scientists also use a high-accuracy version of GPS to keep track of where satellites are in space. But did you know that GPU relies on time travel calculations to help you get around town? GPS satellites orbit around Earth very quickly, at about 8,700 miles, which is 14,000 kilometers per hour. This slows down GPS satellite clocks by a small fraction of a second. What does this mean for time travel? Well, according to this theory, the faster you travel, the slower you experience time. Scientists have done some experiments to show that this is true. For example, there was an experiment that used 2 clocks set to the exact same time. One clock stayed on Earth, while the other flew in an airplane. Going in the same direction Earth rotates. After the airplane flew around the world, scientists compared the 2 clocks. The clock on the fast-moving airplane was slightly behind the clock on the ground. So, the clock on the airplane was traveling slightly slower in time than 1 second per second. And there are important reasons why we need to understand this real-world form of time travel. Let's explore more. Time travel, 5 ways that we could do it. Travel to the past is probably impossible, but are there ways to time travel into the future? First, time travel via speed. This is the easiest and most practical way to time travel into the far future. Go really fast. According to Einstein's theory of special relativity, when you travel at speeds approaching the speed of light, time slows down for you relative to the outside world. This is not just a conjecture or thought experiment, it's been measured. Using twin atomic clocks, one flown in a jet aircraft, the other stationary on Earth. Physicists have shown that a flying clock ticks slower because of its speed. In the case of the aircraft, the effect is minuscule. But if you were in a spaceship traveling at 90% of the speed of light, you'd experience time passing about 2.6 times slower than it was back on Earth. And the closer you get to the speed of light, the more extreme the time travel. Second, time travel via gravity. The next method of time travel is also inspired by Einstein. According to his theory of general relativity, the stronger the gravity you feel, the slower time moves. As you get closer to the center of the Earth, for example, the strength of gravity increases. Time runs slower for your feet than your head. Again, this effect has been measured. In 2010, physicists at the US National Institute of Standards and Technology placed 2 atomic clocks on shelves, one 33 centimeters above the other, and measured the difference in their rate of ticking. The lower one ticked slower because it feels a slightly stronger gravity. To travel to the far future, all we need is a region of extremely strong gravity, such as a black hole. The closer you get to the event horizon, the slower time moves. But it's risky business. Cross the boundary and you can never escape. Third, time travel via suspended animation. Another way to time travel to the future may be to slow your perception of time by slowing down or stopping your bodily processes, and then restarting them later. Bacterial spores can live for millions of years in a state of suspended animation, until the right conditions of temperature, moisture, food kick-start their metabolisms again. Some mammals, such as bears and squirrels, can slow down their metabolism during hibernation. dramatically reducing their cells' requirement for food and oxygen. Could humans ever do the same? Though completely stopping your metabolism is probably far beyond our current technology. Some scientists are working towards achieving inducing a short-term hibernation state lasting at least a few hours. This might be just enough time to get a person through a medical emergency, such as a cardiac arrest, before they can reach the hospital. In 2005, American scientists demonstrated a way to slow the metabolism of mice by exposing them to minute doses of hydrogen sulfide, which binds to the same cell receptors as oxygen. The core body temperature of the mice dropped to 13 degrees Celsius, and metabolism decreased tenfold. After 6 hours, the mice could be reanimated without ill effects. Fourth, time travel via wormholes. General relativity also allows for the possibility for shortcuts through space-time, known as wormholes, which might be able to bridge distances of 1 billion light-years or more, or different points in time. Many physicists, including Stephen Hawking, believe wormholes are constantly popping in and out of existence at the quantum scale, far smaller than atoms. The trick would be to capture one, and inflate it to human scales. A feat that would require a huge amount of energy, but which might just be possible, in theory. Attempts to prove this either way have failed, ultimately because of the incompatibility between general relativity and quantum mechanics. Fifth, time travel using light. Another time travel idea, put forward by the American physicist Ron Mallett, is to use a rotating cylinder of light to twist space-time. Anything dropped inside the swirling cylinder could theoretically be dragged around in space and in time, in a similar way to how a bubble runs around on top your coffee after you swirl it with a spoon. According to Mallett, the right geometry could lead to time travel into either the past and the future. Since publishing his theory in 2000, Mallett has been trying to raise the funds to pay for a proof-of-concept experiment, which involves dropping neutrons through a circular arrangement of spinning lasers. His ideas have not grabbed the rest of the physics community, however, with others arguing that one of the assumptions of his basic model is plagued by a singularity, which is physics speak for it's impossible. I hope our video helps you to understand the concept of time travel. What do you think about the other ways to travel time? Let us know in the comment section. And don't forget to hit like button and subscribe our channel for more interesting videos every week. Thanks for watching.